Hi entrepreneurs, and welcome to another Starting a Business e-learning video class. This is Tony Brancatella, and today we're going to just look at different aspects of marketing in general, and that really would influence your pricing scheme of your products. And we'll look in particular at the elasticity of demand, the price elasticity of demand of your product, how your price will fluctuate, what will happen to the demand of your product. Will it go up or will it go down? In particular, we're going to look at price sensitivity. Now, price sensitivity plays a very big part in the elasticity of demand. So, what is price sensitivity? It's the degree which price of product affects consumers' purchasing behaviors. This is measured using the price elasticity of demand. So, price sensitivity varies with the level of importance consumers place on the price. So look at your products as we go along in this video, and you'll determine your elasticity of demand and your price sensitivity if your price goes up $1, $2, or goes down 50 cents or even $2. Price sensitivity does vary between brands, from brand to brand, so this will play a big part also. Consumers relate to brands and in some cases will pay more to brands. But as we've seen in the promotional mix earlier, sometimes a lot of consumers have cut off their affiliation with brands and loyalty to brands and will not pay more for brands. If we look in particular at gas prices, how far would you go to pay for gas? If the price does go up, will you pay more? Or if the price goes down, will you drive more? Will you get a bigger car? Or in your daily lives, it will not change at all or just a little bit. So everybody is different. A few years ago, there was a shortage of gas in the United States, and there was a price increase that caused a lot of consternation to drivers across America. So answer the following questions about gas prices. If gas prices do go up, do you drive less? Would you use other means of transportation? Would you walk? Would you take your bike, or would you take the metro? Would you drive around looking for a lower price gas station? In the area of Montreal, this is kind of difficult to find a lower price gas station, to the cent possibly, but you can. You find lower price gas. Would you do this if prices of gas go up? Or would you just stay home and wait till prices go down? Would you do nothing? So these are questions that you have to ask yourself when it comes to certain products of elasticity and being price sensitive. How sensitive is gas in particular, since we're looking at this as an example? Okay, let's continue. So gas prices go up. If the price goes up 1 cent, what do you do? Is there any reaction to that? If prices go up 5 cents, would you react to that? How about 20 cents? Will you drive less? $1? Would $1 make a difference to you? And will you change your habits at $1? Would you buy a smaller car, for instance? Or would you, like I said, walk more, or take the bus or take the metro? So these are all questions that you have to ask yourself, and consumers ask themselves all the time when prices go up or down. Very sensitive. So price elasticity of demand is the measure of the relationship between price and demand. So between a change in the rise and the fall of the price itself is the elasticity of demand, and also a change in quantity demanded. Now elasticity works both ways, right? If the price goes up and the price goes down, it could vary. And also, how much do you actually need that product? How much would you spend for that product? How high can that product go before you change something in your lifestyle or don't change anything at all. So think about products before we go forward, that even if they go up a certain amount of money, you will not change, or at certain products, if they go up just a little bit, you would definitely change. So let's take a closer look at price elasticity of demand. If a product is elastic, it is the given percentage change in price. It is not the price itself changed, but the percentage. So in other words, what it was, the percentage between what it was and what it became. The percentage change in price equals a large percentage change in quantity demanded. So we will go further into details about what this means. Inelastic. So it's a given percentage change in price, and here the opposite happens. A small percentage change in quantity demanded. I'll give you an example. If we look at a price, it was $9, the quantity was 2. It goes all the way down to $1, the quantity purchased is 19. So there is a big change here. So this makes it elastic, I should say. So price elasticity of demand, there is a wide differentiation between price and quantity. $9 to $1 19. This makes the product elastic. If we look at inelastic, if the price goes down, but as you can see, there's not a big variation in the quantity from 6 to 10, from 9 to 1. This makes the product inelastic. So there's not much of a variation here versus elastic. I'll give you more information. So if you look at elastic demand, look at, let's say, cola. For some people, cola, most people, cola, if the price is at $1, they would buy a lot. If it goes up to $3, a lot of people would not buy it. Now, is this the case all the time for cola? No. A lot of people love cola, and cola is a product for them that becomes inelastic, and they would pay for it at higher prices anyway. They cannot live without it. Such as milk. I think the demand here in milk, depending on if you are lactose intolerant, inelastic demand for milk, if the price does go up and you have children and it's part of your daily diet, certainly you would pay more than it used to be. So a movement along a demand curve. So the price here, as you can see, goes up, or the price of the product goes down, the quantity will increase. So it's a change in quantity demanded. On this axle you have price, on this axle you have quantity. Now put your product on this graph and see exactly what would happen if your price goes up or if your price goes down. So a closer look at goods that are inelastic or elastic. So in general, goods with elastic demands are luxury items or have many substitutes. So we'll get into that afterwards about substitutes. Inelastic products in general are goods with necessities or have few or no substitutes. Here is the formula for price elasticity of demand. So price elasticity of demand equals the percentage of change, as I mentioned earlier, in quantity demanded over the percentage of change in the actual price. So it's not the quantity demanded over price, it's the percentage of change in quantity demanded over the percentage of change in price itself. Let's look at a graph now that might explain a little bit more about elasticity of demand. Let's look at perfection. So perfectly inelastic and perfectly elastic. So in this case, if the price does not move and the quantity does, the product is perfectly elastic. Vice versa, if the price goes up and the quantity does not move, then the product is perfectly inelastic. Let's look at this on a graph. It might be explained a little bit more. So elasticity of demand, perfect elasticity. If the price does not move, from $9 it doesn't move, but the quantity $6 to 16, as you can see on the graph here, does move. The product is perfectly elastic. Vice versa, if the price goes from $9 to $1, or vice versa, the price goes from $1 to $9 and the quantity does not move, then the product is perfectly inelastic. So let's look at some products that are elastic. You have transportation, such as car prices are elastic. Bus prices, would you think those are elastic also? How about household goods, furniture, appliances? Would they be elastic? Certain professional services, would they be elastic? Smartphones are going up in price. Are you still going to buy a smartphone if it goes up to $1,000? What about $1,500? $2,000? Shoes, winter coats, holiday resorts. If your holiday goes up 50%, would you still go on vacation, or would you find a different alternative? Of course, everything is relative to you. Your demands, your needs fluctuates or changes when it comes to elasticity of demand. Let's look at inelastic products. Fuel. We looked at earlier, if the price goes up, would you still buy it? If the price of petrol goes up, demand proves to be inelastic. Most people will still buy it. The alternatives are still not in place as structured as well as gas. Yes, electric cars are into play, are coming more and more, but it's still a very small introduction phase market. Salt. If the price of salt increased, demand would largely be unchanged. There's really no substitutes for salt. Or is there? How about tap water? Cigarettes. Are they inelastic or not? Pharmaceutical drugs. Electricity. How far would we go to pay for electricity? There is certain substitutes, solar, wind, but again, same here as cars. There's still the structure of it, the infrastructure of that is still not in place, as well as electricity, Hydro-Quebec, or as gas stations. How about toothpicks? Elastics themselves are inelastic. So everything here again, similarly to the elastic products, everything is relative. Let's ask you a few questions now. If you raise your price, will your total revenue go up or down of your project? Well, that all depends on the price elasticity demand of your product. When price increases, two things relatively happen. More money is made per unit and fewer units are sold. When price increases and demand is elastic, more money is lost, fewer units sold than the money gained because of the higher price. Now, when price increases demand and is inelastic, in this case, more money is gained because of the higher price than the money lost because of the fewer units sold. If you want to know more about price elasticity of demand, there is a great video that you can go on YouTube to look at, and it gives you a little bit more detail about the percentage change equation and how to come up to your, if your changes in price, depending on what it is, how much it would change and all that. So this is a very good video to go online to know more about price elasticity of demand. Let's keep going. So what determines the price elasticity of demand? In general, substitute products, consumer budgets, how much you can spend, the time you need the product, and importantly more than anything, your need. So what does competition have to do with elasticity of demand? The more competition, the more elastic is demand. More substitutes are in the market, more chances are you can find another product at a lower price. So what does need have to do with elasticity? As we saw what happened here in Quebec a few years ago when there was the ice storm, all of a sudden there was a gouging, price gouging, and we saw that products like wood and water really went up because the need of those products were in high demand. So what does need have to do with elasticity? The greater the need, the more inelastic the demand. Let's look at certain products. If we looked at peanut butter and jelly. Now peanut butter and jelly overall in markets sell very well together because children love to have sandwiches made of both things and not one or the other. So if in general, if an increase in the price of peanut butter causes a decline in the demand for strawberry jam, then they are considered to be complementary goods. In other words, whatever happens to peanut butter will happen to jelly or strawberry jam in this case. If you look at apples and oranges, the increase in price of oranges will increase the demand of apples. If the price hasn't changed, then orange and apples are substitutes. In other words, if the price of oranges does go up, or vice versa, prices of apples does go up, then consumers will look for substitutes such as oranges or pears. As a compulsory exercise, I'd like you to answer the following two questions. How price sensitive is your brand or product if it is increased by 15%? And also, how price sensitive is it if it is decreased by 15%? And the second question, what are your complement and substitute products? Do you have any? Great. So those are two questions I'd like you to answer, compulsory for your project. And if you do have any more questions and you'd like to ask me, you can ask me in Google Classroom or in the classroom itself. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in class.